2 for the Lulu. What's this Diana all about? Because if you find out in Game 4 that you didn't have to ban Diana in Games 1, 2, and 3, you're really going to kick yourself for that one.
Well, finally they are adapting to the series. Lulu and Olaf have been giving him a lot of problems getting rid of both of those things, obviously. Nidalee as well with the Braum Ben. So really just trying to shake everything up. We should see a unique Game 4.
Shen. They're gonna pick Shen. No, Shen.
You sure?
Yeah, that's
what about Elise?
Likely.
No, there's
Elise
so much.
Also
there's
likely.
so much left up actually for here. The Alistar is also still left up. A few things they can get to make sure nothing too much is told about the entire composition. Still get themselves through this one safely. Gravity taking a lot longer than usual here. It could still be a flex pick. They choose to be very ambiguous about their composition. And they're just going to let the time run down here, actually, to kind of... No, they're not.
Nice.
It is going to be the Shen first.
Makes
Good
the
call,
most sense.
Rip.
It was
Got him.
something that was banned away
You're right.
by TSM in the last game. And it was pretty pivotal in Gravity's ability to collapse on the rotations that TSM was making.
Yeah.
Something that was sorely lacking in the last game.
So, probably a jungle here for Team Solomid, you would think. Make sure that's on the board.
Yeah, I want to go back. I do want to go back to the Shen for a second because that was kind of the crutch that Gravity was leaning on in the game that they won. Because when you're able to collapse faster, TSM's running them all around the map in this entire series, and they can't keep up with the momentum of TSM, knocking down these turrets and rotating between lanes. Shen's your answer. Shen's your guy.
They teleport in, right. Let's see if they work it accordingly. It could still go to Bunny FuFuu on that Shen. And the support picked up to not show much, but the Elise in the jungle for Santorin as his Nidalee was banned out by Team Solomid alone. This would probably push move onto that Gragas or Evelyn. We've been seeing even a Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's going to be a locked-in Elise here. So Santorin switch things up a bit for himself.
Really do feel like Nidalee and Elise are the top 2 junglers on this patch by a pretty large margin. So being able to pull that off and not even having to first pick the Elise will be beneficial for TSM, assuming they have a good pick for Dyrus against Shen. Which we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that just makes Shen an even better top laner. Like we talked about, it could be a flex pick for Bunny, but when Olaf's not on the table, what answer do you have? Does he go with the Gnar? Well, that's actually a pretty good matchup for Gnar. We saw it actually go in Shen's favor yesterday, but that matchup is typically Gnar favored during the laning phase.
Yeah, and I wonder if Move's even going to go with the Eve once again. Had a very underwhelming performance that first time. Eve is stuck around in the meta even after the nerfs because of how quickly she can still clear with the Runeblade.
It's also just the presence she has. It really forces your team to buy pink wards, and if they're not on top of that game, then they get collapsed on. They get Eve from different angles they weren't expecting. But TSM were on top of their ward game over and over again.
Tristana left up once again this game. It is going to be picked up by Gravity. They'll have a bit of an advantage taking down these turrets now. The TSM doesn't have their maybe Jinx and Olaf at low health to start taking down those turret swaps. So a little bit of a change there. Triss back in the game for them. Sivir still open for Team Solomid. As we were saying before, these guys love having that in the composition. It just makes things so easy for the engage. And if you have the Gnar as well, easy to throw him in there with that speed.
Yeah, it's allowing Dyrus to be a split pusher. It's something he's done a lot of. He's actually played Gnar 6 times this split and is 5-1. It's one of his best top lane champions. But it's very much in a split pushing role that he plays that Gnar as well. He's only had 56.8% kill participation in his Gnar games, but won 5 out of 6 because he's really been a strong split pusher, and that's exactly what he needs against Shen.
But when he's against Shen, though, and he has the split push pressure and low kill participation, does that mean the Shen is going to be able to go to other lanes much more often and just increase his own kill participation? So Gravity does have an opportunity to actually take these fights.
The whole reason, in my opinion, the whole reason Gnar is a good pick against the Shen is because if he gets a slight lead, he can then out-push the Shen. So even if Shen does teleport in, you take the turret because you always have the lane pressure. And therefore, since you have the advantage on Shen, you can also match with your own teleport.
Yeah.
What will Gravity round out with? They already have the jungler by Fun Hover. Could be the Janna, actually. It is going to be shields and a bit of disengage as well coming in for Gravity here. Interesting way to round out the composition.
I'm still wrapping my head around the Diana. if he picks Diana here,
you're going to go to bed tonight thinking about Diana.
Like, it's not even a good pick here. So,
against Urgot.
Yeah, against Urgot, against Shen. You don't have enough damage to blow up anybody when there's a Shen on the enemy team and you're playing Diana.
That's the thing. Maybe they're baiting that out as well, understanding that if she does dive in and have a Janna, it'd be hard to play Diana in this situation anyways for Bjergsen if he were to take that. 20 seconds to lock in a final member to round out a composition that looks like it wants to get on you pretty quick. What can Bjergsen throw into there? Victor's still available here for him to go to something easy. He couldn't really put a Kage. Not enough protection there.
Ahri was,
Ahri.
That's right. He was left up last game and he didn't go for it.
Yeah, in the first game. That one slipped right through, so they are going to go for the Ahri. Bit of AoE AP for them and safety for Bjergsen. I actually see him trying to kill out Keane in the mid lane here. Have to be careful, though.
Yeah.
Get more action in that matchup.
It's an interesting choice, because, I mean, we mentioned how it's not a good time for Diana. Aside from Bjergsen being a very good Ahri, it's still somewhat of an assassin-based pick, and they're still up against double shield and an Urgot, so it's a very tanky lineup they're going to be going up against.
Back to what we saw during the split
potential.
more.
Same problem.
Yeah, it has somewhat of the same problem, so Bjergsen will really have to outperform the expected role to make this work in this team comp. Overall, though, TSM does have a lot of damage. Gravity should actually be feeling quite good about this one because of their tank ball type team with good shielding is what they've been able to win with in the past.
There's a lot of pick potential on TSM's comp, though. One person's out of position, the Sivir, the Ahri charm. You just have so much to get to them. So
yeah.
Gravity, they do always have Father Shen looking over them, though. If somebody does get caught, there'll be two there. So they have that advantage. So if they can keep track of Evelyn on TSM's side, they will always know when to take these fights.
We see Cop and Loco Doco taking their final steps to the backstage, possibly the very final if TSM are able to come out with a win here. And you know the deal now. Head over to Twitter. Tell us who you think is going to take this, how you think the series is going to go. It could be a win for TSM. It could be Gravity keeping themselves in. Just tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag GVWin or the hashtag TSMWin. And as always, those will be tallied up throughout the game. The crowd is ready. When a lot of games into the Silver Scrapes for Europe, can Gravity make that happen here in North America? Can we get a Game 5? Is Gravity ready for the long haul for their inexperience in best-of-5 playoff matches where TSM is a veteran?
And TSM looking to keep that veteran status going into the playoffs. Yeah. They've made finals every single time. And Gravity, they're looking for their first semifinals ever.
It's going to be tough. Chronologic Gaming after this, they will have to fight. We saw yesterday Impulse will be going up against Liquid. That should be an interesting match for them as well.
Yeah. What's Impulse against CLG?
CLG, right. Liquid. I was thinking, I switched the brackets in my head.
Yeah, the
from
winner
top
of this
to bottom of the way they were played.
But how about that Madison Square Garden, though?
Yeah. Don't want to mislead anyone. Madison Square Garden is for the finals.
The
and
finals,
third,
right.
fourth place.
Because there's a third, fourth place match. The semifinals will be played here in LA, and the finals and third, fourth place match will be playing in Madison Square Garden. But a win here basically secures their spot at Madison Square Garden because it's guaranteed top 4.
We've heard what that means to the players in the teasers, the trailers that have come out. That is a huge spot, a big stepping stone, as Altec said, to continue moving themselves on. It definitely proves what they've been trying to put out to the fans all season long, and that it's that they can make it and they have the potential to keep going. See, pretty much the same start, not as deep of wards being allowed to put in here with a kind of line of scrimmage wards being placed by TSM.
It's actually very different because Gravity have only placed down 1 ward in this entire first minute and a half of the game.
As I said that, I noticed how far they hadn't got in.
Huh. Why would you save all your trinket wards? Until a minute and 50 seconds.
Very frugal.
It's very curious. Yeah. I only do that when I think somebody's going to invade me, and then when I'm doing my buff, I slap it over the wall, make sure they aren't there. But
what's hilarious is the one ward actually sees the person that's invading them.
Worth value ward.
100% ward participation so far. Very well done.
Making everyone count.
Yep. Back down to the bot lane. Turtle looking to put a bit of damage on the lane before they get CS in, causing Bunny FuFuu to go ahead. Shove down the Biscuit, and we'll just see Move and Hauntzer together here until Hauntzer can get back to the lane by himself. Double jungle on both sides. We'll see what the difference is here between the teams, because it shouldn't be as the same of a start, I should say, between last game.
And the fact that there aren't lane swaps going on, we have to look at the power of the 2-on-2.
Right.
The Tristana Janna lane is the lane that's pretty much the best demolitionist lane. You have the Tristana to just put the explosive charge on turrets, but then the Janna shield on top of it just enables her to burst it even harder.
Yeah. And I see at least early on in the game, the Sivir Alistar lane is is pretty defensive. It's short-range Sivir. Basically, Alistar just plays linebacker. Overall, or offensive lineman, rather. Overall, I think the fact that this isn't a lane swap game heavily favors Gravity, only because they were getting outplayed so hard in all the lane swap situations, they just straight up couldn't keep up. And now it's a more neutralized setting. No one's getting a big lead on either side.
Yeah.
And Altec and FuFuu can try and go to work 2v2 where they have an edge on Wildturtle and Lustboy, both in champion select as well as their play throughout the split.
Yeah, the laning phase as well. The aggression towards FuFuu and Altec seems like that communication is definitely there. Nice hits by Hauntzer onto Dyrus. This is good focus. Another situation where we can see Dyrus going down under his turret if Move decides to get up here when he has the chance. We already saw that happen going in game 2. Big reason Gravity was able to keep themselves within that game.
It's not even if Move shows up either. Because he's Evelyn, you always have to think about, could he be in the side brush?
Yeah, is he right next to me?
Exactly. Is he coming around the turret? So you'll usually see the lanes of TSM play a little bit further back than normal unless they have an escape tool available.
Mid lane, not too much in favor of Keane, but he has stopped Bjergsen on a few minions per each wave coming in. Ricochet's keeping Wildturtle a pretty good distance from his turret. In range for maybe Santorin to sneak in if he wants to. Not anything they're trying to get going there at this time of the game. Just 5 minutes in. Very safe. Except for Move. Or I'm sorry, except for, yeah, Move, I should say.
Move taking a few risks, getting the deep wards in.
That was actually cute by Wildturtle. Walking up to the low HP creep, spell shielding, so the explosive charge AoE damage gave him mana back.
Actually, yeah. Very nicely played. Usually playing against the Caitlyn or something, you got mana batteries all over the place. But definitely good to keep in mind when you can get that mana back. Wildturtle doing so doesn't really have to worry about hooks or grabs in lanes. So he can easily use those to get himself some good resources. No potions yet used by the AD carries here. Does it again, actually.
It's so important to keep your mana up in this lane, though, because if you're throwing out boomerang blades and ricochets constantly up to or against what Altec is doing is just passive, spending no mana to push the wave, you have to keep up. So doing that is very crucial to actually stay even.
Yeah. Interesting play. Definitely never seen that from a server player before to take explosive charges. Yeah. So.
It's also somewhat dangerous because you're basically walking into auto attack range.
If he auto attacks you, he gamed you.
Yeah.
Ooh. Boomerang straight through. That cut through the shield, but it would have been a lot more damage had FuFuu missed that. They're still trying to play aggressive, keep pressure onto Wildturtle in the bot lane and Lustboy. Surprised we haven't seen too much jungle pressure down here to start things off. But it looks like they're happy with the way things are going. And the junglers are hitting their breakaways, so they want to keep in that jungle. 8,000 to 7.7 right now. Just the CS is really giving the lead over here to Gravity at this point. Nothing too big. Both junglers back. Going for a bit of ability power on their builds. Same build path in that, essentially. We see Dyrus still taking hits up top. 38 to 30 in that lane, so Dyrus is falling behind slightly, but nothing that's not going to make him still a giant number.
It's actually pretty big, though, because there's 4 potions still left in Hauntzer's inventory.
The potion, yeah, you're right.
He's getting
that
all of these taunts off
could push Dyrus
that
out.
reduce your damage during the trade, and he just wins them and runs into brush. Drops the aggro. Really, really just good lane mechanics there.
It's also fairly disrespectful. Being able to taunt in the lane that frequently just says that he doesn't expect Santorin to ever be up there. Finally, though, Santorin is there, and the ward is in the spot. Instead of coming through the lane, since the lane is shoved, Hauntzer is able to stay pretty safe right there. Santorin could have done a bit of a sneak attack, but does not do so. And all the time is for naught.
Pretty close there.
Help him shove it out.
Looks like they won't, help him shove it out. Looks like it won't matter. Hauntzer stays safe on this one. Let's see if they get Dyrus a ward, actually. He may just want to back if they can get this up to the turret so he can get himself some items.
Yeah. Leaving him in this lane for longer seems like a bad idea. Out of potions. He's going to lose that war over time. Give him some shove, give him some attention. You see Bjergsen running up top. Urgot with the lack of wave clear. Very exploitable in that sense. But look at this, they make a play down bottom because they see that.
They hit Move with the headbutt, double bounce onto Hauntzer. It's the flash out and the spell shield coming in for Wildturtle. They're going to get out alive. So many resources used here, and Hauntzer can't get back to the top. This leaves Dyrus alone with the turret, and TSM gets out clean. Flash used.
That was just really nicely played by both sides, I think. Gravity saw the roam coming up top lane from TSM, immediately go for the play bottom, but Wildturtle avoids it. Nice use of summoner spells by both Lustboy and Turtle to make that escape. and the investment itself for the gank wasn't that high, knowing he's Shen, knowing he was going to shop anyway, teleports back to lane.
Yep.
Nothing really lost has happened. Only good things could have happened to Gravity for there. TSM dodged a bit of a bullet.
This could.
You have item advantage, bully him a little bit.
Taunt still 4 seconds, doesn't have the lane to get him with what jump would be coming up for Dyrus, so Hauntzer plays that one smart to get as much CS as possible.
I like that though, because that means Dyrus is about to back, trade as much as possible. You are going to burn through some potions of Hauntzers. You're going to back and TP in with your own items. Do as much damage as possible so that when you get back, you're in good shape.
Kind of like when you're a support, or I'm a support, and I eat a biscuit on accident. I'm like, well, I might as well just go fight. So
there you go.
Use this biscuit a little bit. Just get that last bit of damage in valiantly and safely. Dyrus will return to lane quite well off. 56 to 57 in that CS, and he's got his phage built up. Turtle could go pop, and he does. Kill picked up for Altec.
So we did not have flash or heal from the previous game, and he also didn't have Lustboy to play defense for him. That was a boo-boo by Wildturtle right there. He should not have been in that spot in lane. Was trying to get the last little bit of gold, I think. Or he already bought. Yeah, he had a BF sword in lane. There was no reason for him to greed for CS at that point. But he does, and it cost him first blood.
Feeling safe. He was not. You can even see the vision is pink warded out there, so he was running around in a pretty big fog of war, an area they did not control.
First
top
blood.
lane, still back and forth. Not too much here, but Hauntzer's plays around the map could definitely take Dyrus off guard. Dyrus gets the hop, and the flash has to be used. I'll be back up at 14.5.
This is going to be bottom turret, though, because they killed Wildturtle, and it's the Janna Tristana composition. You get that turret so quickly. That was basically, I think, 3 casters and a cannon minion. They were able to take it from 3 forts.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier that the standard lanes would favor Gravity, and we're seeing the results of that right now. Blue had matched farm with Santorin early on in the game, but basically Altec and Bunny FuFuu, with the help of a big gank, are able to take the advantage down bottom lane. Hauntzer is working Dyrus a little bit with all the taunts in lane. It's just going perfectly for Gravity early.
Exactly. Hauntzer was able to push Dyrus back. He needed assistance. They sent people top, and Hauntzer gave him the runaround. Big part of having Shen in top lane is that he gets to show up in the bottom lane. You always win that fight by outnumbering them.
Very strong map movement so far from Gravity, using those level 6s as well, just about when they came up, making sure they haven't had an advantage. Dyrus gets back to lane, definitely not in the damage dealing factor of things. However, builds a phage, being more of the tanky guy this time. We do see Santorin instead of Cinderhawk, Runeglaive, actually for both of the junglers this game.
Clear speed, something Santorin wants a lot of since he does a lot of farming in the jungle. Also, higher damage.
There we go. They put the Janna Trist into the top lane now. Put it where the turret is still up. It's something that they failed to do.
Jeez, they're going to get a 2-turret advantage temporarily.
It's such a good combo.
Yeah. This is where we saw Gravity last time being pushed off the turret because they tried so late.
Yeah, it's not only that you're getting bonus AD from the Janna shield. Explosive Charge has more damage multiplicatively based on your AD. So the damage that you get from the Explosive Charge when you're shielded is about 80 more at this rank, and then it just goes up even further.
They're going to get how much damage on this next turret as well. Their second tier, just prepping that one down, should be about half HP. You can see Bjergsen pushing Keane out in the mid lane and trying to get a push in as well. Not as much roam from Bjergsen this game, trying to also keep Keane down.
Well, Keane hasn't been kept down this series at all. We talk about his variance, and he's being consistent.
Well, I suppose, yes, he has not had a big win or a big loss, but a lot of that has been on Bjergsen playing the very neutral mid laners, 2 Lulu and 1 Orianna. So
even not going as aggressive, or maybe Keane's not letting him on the Ahri that he finally gets.
One thing I noticed this Urgot game, he has picked up the 1 win Gravity has on this series on Urgot.
Very true. They are not hesitant to go into fights. We even kind of heard Cop saying as he was walking off the stage, don't hesitate, don't do what we did in that first game. Make sure you guys can come out strong and really have confidence in your engages.
Yeah, and Gravity has been able to pick up 2 turrets with no answer. This is actually quite rare. You normally see a turret trade of some kind, but it just shows that Gravity's had that lane advantage in multiple lanes. They're really exercising the mobility of the Shen from a map-wide perspective in order to have presence in both of these lanes. Keane is splitting with Bjergsen, which is exactly what he needs to do, since Bjergsen needs to snowball wildly far ahead for an assassin to work against a tank shield composition. this game is going extremely well for Gravity.
Bjergsen.
And if Keane is able to actually tag Bjergsen again, get him about half HP, force him back, they will probably immediately call Altec and Bunny FuFuu to the mid lane, knowing Bjergsen has to back. So if he gets the poke on, that opens an opportunity in that exposed turret.
That, or it's ready for this dragon. TSM has already set up forward wards for it to make sure they see move coming in from the outside in a spot. But he didn't have camps to clear, so he may be able to make it quite close before they even spot him out. They'll set up some more wards. TSM kind of bullseye here to Gravity in their base. See how Altec takes this one. Was that the jump as well coming in? I don't think Altec's going to be able to do it anymore. He was stopped mid-jump there. Gets himself into the brush to deny some vision. Dyrus does not have much movement towards the team. He looks like he's going to get himself in a good spot now. Yeah, move eventually goes down. Dyrus slams him into the wall, and this is going to be a few more kills coming in for Team Solomid. They walked that one out, cut off Gravity, and started slaying him.
Yeah, unique fight right there. TSM was trying to pull off a flank, and move had actually been undetected through most of that, I think. So it was a strange initiation. Basically, it came down to the teleport timing of Dyrus. The instant he came in, he turned into Gnar. That's pretty much the ideal scenario you would want. He just crunches move upside the wall there to pick up the first kill for TSM of the game. And it lets them bounce back a little bit despite their turret disadvantage.
It's just so strange that Altec would be pushed up that far. And when they saw Lustboy and Santorin go around the left side into their own jungle. Very curious. And they chose to take that fight afterwards. Altec very well could have jumped back towards the turret and gotten out of there.
Yeah.
And Move could have ran the other way. He was invisible. Nobody had spotted him.
They themselves thought they were going to be able to turn that, I think, because Move was mostly undetected, so they thought they'd have
Hauntzer coming in too. They thought they had the number advantage.
Yeah. But ultimately, Bjergsen roamed before Keane as well.
Yep.
It's another thing that turned that fight.
Twice in a row. This time it actually pays off. Bjergsen's able to get there and help, where Keane is just a little short, something we've been seeing for the past 2 games.
Yeah. This is what they should have been doing. Instead of pushing Altec down a long lane, they should have taken it middle and then go towards the dragon back and forth between these 2 objectives until you at least get one of them or both.
They're back. Definitely don't lose too much after losing a few of their members, and they're still able to come back stronger and get onto that dragon and maybe start to pressure middle a little bit as well. Top lane's going to have to be taken care of. Wildturtle is on it. And it looks like we're going to get some defense from TSM in the mid lane.
That again.
Yeah,
Altec has the opportunity here. That's only the explosive charge.
They knock him pretty far
so
back.
He still has his jump.
So he didn't jump.
They burned the Sivir ult up on the top side, so that's why I think Gravity thinks they can win this fight.
Wildturtle's half HP as well, but they catch Move in the brush. Pretty random occurrence there. That you check around, you find the Evelyn.
Well, Evelyn had already revealed herself because he'd aggroed Wildturtle early on. So basically, Move was just trying to hide away from the Ahri. The pathing from the Ahri versus the Urgot allowed Bjergsen to reach there a lot sooner.
It should have been called off.
Most likely. Hindsight 2020.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I can't call it out.
All right, so Dyrus, hold off or not, he's going to go ahead and just build a Black Cleaver again. He's still going to try to carry from this Gnar position. Leave Lustboy as the tank, let him do things that tanks do.
Yeah, he's got the 40 CS advantage. He's in a position to split push with the kill and assist over Hauntzer.
Especially if you're not kind of expecting that. Obviously they can see his inventory, but now a Sivered up Gnar flying through the fight, able to just jump over the team and get to that back line.
There's also a really well-timed teleport from him. He had Mega Gnar.
Yeah. There's a few of them that he has been come up big on with those teleports. Quadra kill of last game to be in the right spot at the right time as TSM was able to get that Dragon Ace. Slowly back and forth. The 2 kills they just got are the only 2 of the game. 2-1 so far. See if Dyrus can keep himself going. He's participated in everything at this point. Sight stones, not on both sides. Double sight stone for TSM here. Gonna start being able to control the map, but that's not gonna stop Move from buying a plethora of wards and setting them out, as you can see. Good deep wards.
Move trying to make sure he keeps his combat effectiveness this game. Maybe an Abyssal Scepter instead of an Aegis early on in this one. Although the Aegis will be just as valuable. They're going to have to probably build it on Bunny FuFuu. Or even Hauntzer. Hauntzer's built Banner of Command in the past. That would probably serve as purchase.
I think you touched on the Rune Glaive as well for Santorin on Elise. Full AP build going to be coming through here for him this game. Just being another threat. It seems like Move identifies that and starts to build some magic resistant
Already has that Haunting Guise ready. TSM is ready to get into these fights, it seems, once those last core items are finished up. Just 2 of them, and they're going to be extremely powerful. Bjergsen already passed level 11. They're just waiting on that for a few more members. Actually, not that they even spiked that hard at 11 across their team.
And while everything else has been happening, Dyrus has a 50 CS advantage on Hauntzer, and you're really seeing the power of the Gnar against a split-pushing Shen right now. 2-level advantage plus the Black Cleaver, so he's shredding through the Sunfire Cape armor quite easily, and basically just solos out that turret, cutting back the disadvantage that TSM had prior. Also an upgraded trinket. Dyrus is really good at this split push Gnar. He gets the upgraded trinket, gets the deep wards on the side that he's going to be split pushing, and then just bullies the guy who they sent for him, generally staying pretty safe as well. We'll see if he can continue to execute this properly while staying safe.
Yeah, he has so much ward coverage in that jungle that's placed down for him, and he has trinkets still in the bank. He's going to be safe for a while.
Not
if they sent 2 people to deal with him
against Dyrus, and that's not something we're always saying. A very different team Solomid here in the playoffs, and they said it would be. That is what Bjergsen stated in the trailers. That's what Loco Doco said when I interviewed him earlier today, is that things are going to change. We may lose 1 game to something tricky. So far, so good for that. Gravity still has a very good chance in this game, though. It has not gone either way too much, but Team Solomid is looking to take control very soon. 2-minute dragon could mean a big fight.
Hauntzer better watch out. He went in for a taunt. You can't duel Dyrus anymore.
Hauntzer had to flash the boomerang to get out of that one. Dyrus nearly with the solo kill.
Yeah, it's not the same matchup that it was a moment ago.
Dyrus has been a top performer for TSM this series. Huge improvement he's had. Watching this again.
Yeah, goes in for the taunt.
Yeah, I made a huge mistake.
But I'll make it again. Walks up, tries to make the best of it, but no. Dyrus still, like, he even had transform there too, so he transforms, make sure he doesn't die off the turret shot. Looking at the items again, Bunny FuFuu. After Sightstone and Moby Boots, Zeke's is going to be the item coming in for him. He didn't get to complete it on his Thresh game. So he's looking to enable Altec to do as much damage as possible. If you can blow up this Ahri, who's not going to have his Zonians for a very long time, and it's going to be a squishy Elise at all times too.
I love Zeke's Harbinger. I feel like in most games, if you have an Infinity Edge AD carry, you want it. You want it somewhere in your builds.
Even if you don't have an Infinity Edge AD carry, it's still very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
See if Gravity can get in a position once that item is created to use it. Right now, Altec staying safe. Dodging out a bit of Bjergsen there as we saw here, and it looks like both teams starting to group. Dragon on the plate. Who is it going to be served up to, though? TSM would obviously love this fight with the wards they have up. Almost a few members to pick off, but they still have to respect the push mid.
Yeah, and a lot of this fight will have to do with the prep from the top laners. How poked can Dyrus make Hauntzer, and how can he manage his Rage Bar before the fight as well? The ward coverage is more even than it has been in the past. TSM has that one nice spot of vision right in front of the Dragon Pit. It's going to be, this is kind of the deciding moment of the mid game.
Oh, blue buff up. They can't really do anything about this. Dyrus has the pink ward down, absolute control of it.
They're all back so far away, so they're basically just giving the Dragon up.
Their items ahead as well. They don't want to make a mistake, but it seems like they can just roll through one of these fights.
Oh.
If they are to engage
TP
it.
to the bottom side of them. He has flash. Is he going to go for it? No.
Oh, misses with the house.
Oh, boom.
It's going to be jumps out. Whoa, Lustboy over the wall. That's going to be the house hit, and Dyrus picks up another kill on the game after TSM continues through. They persevere for that one.
Move way separated from the rest of his team. Did not need to be in that specific spot, but it allows TSM to pick up a kill on a very late play they made towards Dragon. Yeah, I think TSM was the advantage team if they were able to get a clean 5v5 team fight right there, but they give up a ton of ground to Gravity. Gravity up 2 dragons to 0, TSM with pretty golden.
Oh, Lustboy looking for a play on Altec.
The crowd control train coming down the path. Altec's able to jump out of the way just at the last second to get some big damage missed. And Bjergsen's coming up on the other side. Spirit Rush already used quite a bit ago, so he's picking these up with regular spells. They're going to be able to drop Hauntzer. Too many members of Gravity split up now as TSM is making their way through the jungle. Move wants it again, but they're 3v5 right now. This has to just be deterring Team Solomid, but not at all. They actually put themselves in a bad spot, and Gravity goes down now, trying trying to deter Team Solomid from more. Dyrus gnars out at the perfect time. Once again, it's going to be an ace onto Gravity, and Team Solomid start to lock this one down 22 minutes in.
Dyrus has been having such a good series, and this specific fight favored TSM for a number of reasons. They have the assassin-type team on Bjergsen, but he had access to the squishy targets with his charms. Santorin was pinpoint accuracy on his cocoons, and TSM took a very close game and just blew it wide open.
A 6,000 gold lead already, and you're ending up with this ace. Lustboy waits for Altec.
Yeah. I do have to mention, though, that Gravity had no business being in these spots. Move was already dead. They'd already lost a fight. All they needed to do was sit in their lanes and try and wave clear. But instead, they grouped 4 people in between their safety of turrets and take a fight that they have no chance of winning. Like, unless they're looking for a pick in that situation, which they shouldn't be in that spot.
And we talked about this composition. It is a pick composition. You have a Sivir who's going to get you when you're out of position. You have an Alistar who's going to punish your positioning. Ahri and Elise.
Great double pulverize there by Lustboy.
So many things working out right now. Dyrus as well, the right spots at the right time and understanding what he can do with Gnar, how much longer he can be under the turret, and just timing things well with the ultimate. Looking at when they came into this game for KDA, 72, 45, and 126 for Hauntzer, or 124. You wouldn't think that Dyrus would be the one getting the kills, because Dyrus was 38, 39, and 124, almost even in kills and death. But Dyrus is completely outshowing Hauntzer throughout these games, and it wasn't something TSM was letting him do. This absolutely seems like they're allowing him to kind of go with his own game.
A lot of it just has to do with what types of team compositions they build. So much of the numbers that TSM had during the regular season were self-fulfilling from the champion selection. They were picking Bjergsen onto the only champion that could conceivably do damage, and then playing completely around him. Anything Bjergsen could do, he's the only playmaker.
Yeah.
And therefore, everyone else's damage numbers on TSM looked pathetic. Because they were, since no one else on TSM was doing damage. And now they're picking more well-rounded team compositions. Dyrus also getting a lot of gank assistance, and now they're just picking up everyone. And look, Bjergsen only comes in at the end of that play. That was a play created by people who were not Bjergsen, and it's ultimately what any team needs to do to succeed, is have multiple threats.
You're talking about having multiple threats. Santorin is now being able to play threats in these series. He was always on the Gragas, the Rex side. 14 out of his 18 games, he was playing those 2 champions. Now we're seeing him on Italy, we're seeing him on Elise, we're seeing him on these S-tier champions that deal a lot of magic damage, which in turn actually enables Dyrus and Wildturtle, because if they're playing these physical damage champions, they aren't being counter-built.
Nice little counter push by Gravity, I have to mention, though. That once the Baron goes down, using Trist to definitely demolish those turrets very quickly. Doing their best to try and make it to the next one, but the Baron empowered recalls give TSM a bit of an edge.
Oh, he exited back. Wildturtle staying for the turret.
Quick choice from him, who will back on the side of Gravity. It doesn't look like anybody's taken to it yet, but Move is just on the side. I think he'll probably show himself to push Turtle off. He's not actually seeing the taunt from Hauntzer. Is going to have to cool down on this one now. And they may actually be able to get him in range. Turtle's wards keeping him quite safe. TSM could make a lot of moves here. I don't think they're going to be able to, though, as it's just wave clean up. They're not going to be able to push anything in their favor.
Yeah, Hauntzer not that strong. Not that strong at all. Very behind this game. The first pick, Shen, getting counter-picked by TSM.
So there's that Zeke's. It is finished. Up onto Bunny FuFuu. We'll see if it can come into play for these guys once they get into those fights.
More unlikely now that they're down 8,000 gold. Also, the full physical team by Gravity. They got away with it before.
Yeah, putting all their eggs in one basket seems to hurt this time.
The magic damage from Evelyn is also decent, but I don't think it's the same level that they're able to provide with the Elise. With the Baron buff.
Without a care in the world, Dyrus just toying with the front line and back line of Gravity right now. Able to do whatever he wants with where he has put himself in this game. 4-0-3, 7 out of the 9 kills he's participated in. Looks like they're setting up for one more. Lustboy got it. He's trying to rinse and repeat from the same location. Does not look like Gravity wants to leave their base now. Rightfully so.
Yep. You talked about how last time their double AD composition worked out, Jatt. Well, they fell behind this game, and a Baron's already gone over to TSM. Basically all the elements that counter it.
Yep. Limited fallback pattern for them with such low wave clear. against a heavy wave clear team for TSM. Easily rolling into the base with this Baron.
And it was a lot different when TSM stole the Baron last time as well.
Oh,
they
whoa.
weren't pushing the inhibitors just yet. Gravity still had some space and breathing room to work with, but not this time. Move. Every time he's in the eyes of Team Solomid, he has gone down. We talked about it from game one, that he made a few ill movements and went down as well. He just hasn't been positioned correctly with the team so far, and it's definitely costing Gravity.
It was something near the end of the split, too, that we saw move going on these champions by Evelyn, not having great games, and he's just having another poor game when they need him most.
Well, it makes it hard against Shellbearer's right, playoff Dyrus. He makes things a little bit more difficult from wherever he pulls his energy from. Maybe it's all the fans. He did say he still always enjoys to play for the fans, and they have been cheering quite loud for him today.
Yeah, well, he's deserved it. Dyrus has played very good game.
Fantastic.
Few little missteps he's had on Olaf in the previous games, but by and large, one of his best performances that Dyrus has had in a very long time. The most experienced member in the North American LCS, still right at the top of his game.
Interesting to see that confidence come out of his that champion as well.
And he was the guy that after MSI realized top lane needs more priority on it. Top lane needs to have more resources put into it. He started grinding solo queue extraordinarily hard, climbing the ladder. I think he's in the top 10 right now. But not that, he's caught right now, but he's still going to be fine. He just has so much. So much gold.
There it is, the Kansas City Shuffle. He should be all right. No! He's like against the ropes. It's another punch. 1-2. He gnars out. They're going to throw in the towel, but no, Dyrus stays alive. No towel to be thrown. 2 kills already. Altec and Hauntzer is down. Buddy FuFuu quickly follows, and Dyrus squeezes tight. He's still alive.
Oh, an unfortunate pause. Our first of the series, right at the moment where he gets the huge win. We'll find out what this is about.
Or will we?
Or will we? They're unpausing right now.
It's unpaused.
Or will we?
All right.
Or will we?
Needed a moment to
Everything got quiet.
moment to breathe.
Everything is okay.
Playing again.
Going for it. Looks like TSM.
We're back in the game.
They might be ending
that
the
should
game.
be the game after that. Dyrus with a bait right there. Huge tankiness. Gets the Gnar, slams him against the wall. Everyone in Gravity goes in. This should be TSM moving on to the semifinals.
Move back. They may have considered that a pause or a check of anything wouldn't help the game. It's going to be ended. Team Solomid running down the tracks. Dyrus, the front of the train throughout the playoffs. And Team Solomid are going to take down Gravity 3-1 in the quarterfinals.
And TSM really powered up towards the end of that series. The first 2 games were quite close, looked sloppy from both sides. But these last 2 games from TSM were very clean. They adapted within the middle of the series, they used their experience, and Dyrus had a spectacular performance.
Every single game in this series, Dyrus was at the head of the charge for TSM.
Wow.
They enabled him, they gave him turret gold, they gave him kills, and they gave him TP priority in the top lane to the point that he was something you can't ignore in the top lane.
So it was an accidental pause coming in, which was why the pause was instantly released as well. Still, we see the game going to Team Solomid regardless of the outcome of that pause, and they would have changed something. What a game coming in from Team Solomid. They said it would be a slightly different team, and we see how that was. Bjergsen back to Bjergsen on utility. Mostly safety of the Lulu. The Orianna as well has been played, but Dyrus on carry. Dyrus on a threat. Back in the playoffs, just like he was previously last season.
And this shows depth of strategy for TSM, something that they have actually been criticized for, that they lack.
Yep.
And now moving forward to play Team Liquid in the semifinals.
Yep.
And locked in their spot at MSG. Here we go.
Yeah,
Madison Square Garden.
And throughout the regular season, they were so heavily reliant on Bjergsen, such to the point that as far as damage dealt, percentage of teams damage dealt to champions, Bjergsen was the highest in the history of the LCS, over 40%. In games 3 and 4, he wasn't the highest damage dealer on his team. Game 3, Wildturtle did more damage with Jinx, and this game, Dyrus did the most damage on Gnar. So it's actually the